In this video, we will see how to summarize the data and visualize the data using Microsoft Excel. So in this video, we'll cover the introduction to the spreadsheet, cells, formula, and random number generator, calculating the size, minimum, maximum, average, standard deviation, how to draw the histogram, error bars including mean plus or minus standard deviation and mean plus or minus 95% confidence interval, how to create a pie chart and box plot, time series, XL and line plot. So XY line plot, how to create. So I suggest you to download the Excel practice file that is available in the Swayam module. And once you download it, just double click the Excel practice file. So the first sheet here is that you can see that there are several sheets here. These are known as sheets, while these are called just one sheet, and these are known as cell. So as you can see that the cells, you can actually copy the cell to another cell. For example, on a blank place, I am just typing 1. So I can copy the same one just by see that the shape of the mouse is changing to plus sign. So once it becomes plus, I click and drag it. So this is the good functionality of the spreadsheet application. So this is supported in the Microsoft Excel. So this has got several formula function. For example, if you click 1, 2, 3, then if you click all these 3 and then drag it, so it will automatically fill in 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So all these are formula function of this one, the Excel. So because these are all different cells that automatically grouped in. So I can also put some formula. So every time I have to type the formula, so I will have to click equal to sign. So equal to, I can click like 45 multiplied by, so that is basically my star asterisk 67. So the moment I press the enter, so the answer comes in here. So this is also very good. You see that this is the formula bar. The formula will comes here. I can edit the formula. For example, I can divide with 4. So the new answer comes here. So this is all the different functions of the Microsoft Excel. So the first sheet here is for the histogram. As you can see that there are several values here already. So how did I put up all these values? This is by the random number generator. So the usual random number is equal to RAND, that is rand, or I can also put rand between function. Rand between, for example, bottom is 40 comma and the top is 20, and I just have to complete the thing, the formula, by adding the bracket close, and I click enter. So so it will show you that the rand between these two values. So that is what it will give you. So it is basically, it has to be bottom and top. So it is not 40 has to be, if 40 is bottom, the top has to be a bit more than that. So let us say 60. So see, the random number is 54 has come. So I can just copy to the rest of the cells. So all these random numbers are basically between 40 and 60. So this is a very good way to generate some random number. And if you would like to generate some random number which is actually normally distributed, the formula is equal to norm in. There is nothing but inverse normal distribution rand 30 and 6. So basically let's type that into a new cell. So I start with equal to, then NORM norm in. So it shows the norm in. Then it will show you all these things. So I can actually I can simply copy this one and paste it in a new file, and here you see that there is one small quotation, so I just have to remove that quotation. And here is basically the mean. So in this mean, I can change that mean to, let us say, 48 is the mean, and now this one is the standard deviation. So instead of 6, I can put 8. So basically this formula will generate a random number with a mean of 48 and a standard deviation of 8. So the moment I click here, you can see that 43.5. So I can increase or decrease the precision by clicking this one. So this is to increase the decimal points. So you will have to click here to see the all numbers. See, this is increased in the decimal point. I can increase the precision, or I can decrease the precision here. So this is the way to generate the random numbers. So all these random numbers were generated by that function in the Excel. So I can just click here to make it a little bit squeezing. So this is the column width. I can adjust the column width here. So these are the different kinds of the random numbers. So how will I see that? What is, how many dots are there? How many individual elements are there? So basically I just have to count that 1, 2, 3, 4, or I can simply use a function called count. So as usual, any function or formula starts with equal to, then the count, C-O-U-N-T, count, and I click the tab, and now I'll have to select everything. So I just have to go and select everything for that, and then enter. So that is how to see that 817 is the sample size. The formula used is count A1 to S43. So these are basically the address. The first cell is A1, the last cell is S43. For example, this cell. This cell, when you click it, you will see that it is basically S43 cell. So that is what this formula means. Count from A1 cell to S43 cell. So there is totally 817 values here. That is what it is. How do you calculate the minimum? So again, equal to min and all these values. So I can choose the last cell, and I can drag and I can put into the first cell and enter it. So this is the minimum. Now to calculate the maximum, instead of min, it is max max, and everything I will have to choose the first to the last. So as you can see that there is a maximum. Now to coming to the average, all I have to do is equal to average and number. So all these values I will have to choose the first to the last. So as you can see, the average has also come. Now to come to the standard deviation is equal to STDEV. So the moment you put STDEV, there are two options coming, STDEV P or S. So it's basically S is what we want to do. See that these are basically the difference between the formula. Excel has inbuilt formula. Dot P means population standard deviation, that has denominator is n, while sample denominator is n minus 1. So that is what you would like to have. So I will choose that, and everything. So I choose all this data and then click here the standard deviation. So this is the way to calculate all this size, minimum, maximum, average, and standard deviation. Now how to plot a histogram using this number? So I just have to click one cell and click Control A to choose all table. Now for histogram, I will have to go to the data analysis, the toolpath that you already put in data. There is a data analysis here. I click on data analysis. Then you can see that descriptive statistics and histogram. Histogram has come up. I click histogram. So what is the input range? So basically the input range is this range. I click Control A. So this is what my input range is, right? So let us go back here. I click here the first cell and I just drag to the whole cell. This is my input range. Now if you're not specifying any bin, then it will automatically calculate the bin. So where do you want the output? In a new worksheet price? Okay, so it will create a new sheet to the left of it, right? And what would you like to have? Chart output with cumulative percentage. These two things I would like. So then I will click here, okay. So as you can see that the histogram has already been formed. So you can see, you can increase the size to see that the histogram. You can see that it's increasing, then decreasing. So it is kind of a, it's kind of a normal histogram size with the sigmoidal kind of cumulative function. So this is what the histogram is. If you would like to generate, if you'd like to specify your own bin range, as you see that the minimum is 8, maximum is 50. So let us specify the bin range. So the bin range be here, right? So let us say 5, 10, 15. So it could be 2 very small. So let us say 10, 20, like that, 30, 40 and 50. So these are our bin range. So if you'd like to specify the bin range, then let us do that once again. The data analysis, histogram. So input range is same, but the bin range, now I'm specifying the bin range with these numbers. New worksheet, apply, chart and cumulative percentage. If you click here, yeah, okay. So you can see that the bin range have now changed now here. You can see 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 and more. So this is also a sigmoidal curve. So now that if you would like to change this data set, because usually the histogram don't have any gaps between the two columns. So if you want to change it, you click here and then click on the format selection, because we already selected a data series. So you click format selection. So you can see that the series overlap and gap width. So you can reduce the gap width to 0. So that will give you a kind of a histogram like appearance to your graph. So if you want to make it more refined histogram, all you have to do is that you can increase this numbers. So instead of 10, 20, you can just start with 5, 10, 15. So well, you can try to copy this one. See, you can change that one. So these are now the bin. Now let us create once again the histogram, data analysis, histogram. So input range is same. Now the bin range is different. Bin range is, this is my bin range. New worksheet, apply, cumulative with chart output. I click. So the new sheet has come, and now this is my histogram. So this looks far better and a lot more sigmoidal shape. So I can choose one of these the data series, and I can go here to reduce the gap width to 0. So as you see that this is how to make a good quality histogram with the archive, the cumulative archive in it. So now let us move on to the next one. The histogram is also done. The next is the bar and pie chart. So as you see that this is the data of the Mendel's dihybrid curves with observed frequencies and expected frequencies. So to make a bar chart, you have to do that, you just have to insert. So first you click here, all this data without total, so don't include the total, and insert the recommended chart. So you can see that there is this is one form of chart. So let us clustered column. So there is already option coming, the recommended charts and all charts. So let us go with the recommended chart and click OK. So as you can see that round yellow, round green, wrinkled yellow and wrinkled green. So what are these two things? One is observed frequencies or FO, and the second one is expected frequency or FE. We can also present the same thing with yet another kind of data, add chart. So we simply click chart. Now click here recommended chart. So instead of recommended, I'll go with the all charts function, pie, and instead of normal pie, I go with the donut. So as you can see that the donut graph is already here. This one is basically the expected frequency, but inside is basically the observed frequency, observed versus expected in the donut shape. So two ways you can make it from this Mendel's dihybrid curves. Now let us go to the third one, that is error bars on box plot, how to make this kind of error bars. So basically this one has got this is the same data that we used for the ANOVA, for example. So to make this error bar, so for the sake of brevity, let me delete all these already created error bars here and the box plot. So to create it, you will have to calculate the mean. This is a function I already taught you. Standard deviation, 95% CI, n is a count is a function, so 95% SCM, all this. So let us calculate the 95% CI by using the formula confidence.t with this is the thing, and SCM is by manual formula. Let us calculate these two things for this one. So to calculate 95% confidence interval equal to confidence dot t. So this is a formula that we will have to use that. and click tab, and then alpha you will have to specify. The alpha is usually 0.05, and the moment you put comma, it changes into the standard deviation. So what is the standard deviation for this? We already calculated it, so this is a standard deviation. So instead of typing that value, just have to click that cell and comma, and the size we already calculated with the count function, so 15 is the size. So I click here, and then I close the bracket, and I click here the enter. So this is the 95% CI. And for the calculating for the rest of these groups, all I have to do is that I just see that how the mouse pointer changed from hollow plus to the usual plus sign. So when it changes, click and drag to the rest of the cells. So all these values are the width of the 95% CI. Now to calculate the SCM, I click equal to, as you know, the formula of SCM is standard deviation divided by, so I click standard deviation cell, so divided by square root of n. So sqrt is a square root function, square root of the n. So I click on that cell containing the n. So this is the SEM. So to copy it to the rest of the cells, all I have to do is drag it. So if I want to calculate 90th percentile, equal to percentile.exe, and the array is, this is my array, not the whole cell, only this is my array, and k means which percentile. So if it is 90th, so it is the k is 0.9, or 0.9 is my 90th percentile. So as you see, this is my 90th percentile of this number, because there is a 90 here. So this is what. So if you want to calculate 90th percentile for the rest of the data set, all you have to do is copy for the rest of the data. So all this is the 90th percentile of the respective groups. Now if you want to summarize this data, so all I have to do is that I just have to click here and insert the recommended charts. So let us go with the usual bar chart. So instead of this clustered, so I will go with the usual column chart. So if I use this kind of column chart, then it is going to be the entire, these are nothing but empirical, measurements will come up. So that is not what I wanted. So I just want this mean plus or minus this value. So all these mean values I highlight along with my the labels, and I click on the recommended charts. So as you can see, this is exactly what I would like to plot. So I click here. So this is what I have, A, B, C, these are the group, and these are the group means. Fine. So the group means are also here. Now I would like to add some error bar. So to add error bar, I have to click add chart element, error bars, and more error bar options. Here I will have to see the third option. You can click custom. So don't go with any of these options, it is all meaningless. I go with the custom option and specify the value. So what kind of error bar I would like to have? So let us go with little bit here, positive and negative error bar. So if you would like to add the standard deviation error bar, positive error bar is all the standard deviation, click enter, and negative error bar is also the standard deviation, all my standard deviation. So the moment I click OK, so you're going to have a chart with standard deviation error bar. As you see, there are some overlap, but this overlap means nothing in the case of standard deviation. I can click here standard deviation SD. So this is how to generate the standard deviation error bar to your individual data. Now if you want to make 95% error bar, so again what you have to do is that I highlight these areas along with the mean. I'm holding my control key and then click here, and then I go to the insert menu and recommended charts, the bar chart, exactly same thing like this chart, but this is a duplicate of this chart. But instead of this, I will go with my 95% CI. How will I put it? So add chart elements, error bars, so more error bar options, and on the third tab I click custom and specify value. So here positive error bar value is all my 95% CI values, and those are the same thing for the negative error bar as well, because these are the width of the 95%. I click OK. So as now you can see that, you know, the 95% CI comes up here. So here the 95% CI for the E do not overlap with any of the other groups, so I can instantly conclude that this is the mean is different from the rest of the means. So this is what the 95% CI says. Another easy way to present or visualize the data is by box and whisker plot. So I have to click all these values, and I will have to click here insert and recommended charts. So here I go with the all charts. These are different kinds of charts that the Excel will give you: bar, pie, line, surface, radar, tree map, sunburst, histogram, box and whisker. So I click box and whisker plot. So this gives a preview of what kind of chart it looks like. So I click OK. So now you see that this is what it looks like. We have got different kinds of groups, and this is what the percentiles, you know, first quartile, this is the minimum, the first quartile is 25th percentile, this is median, X is at the mean, that is average or arithmetic mean, and this is my 75th percentile, and this is my maximum. So as you can see, instantly it summarized my entire data by box and whisker plot, and that is a very good way to very convenient way to summarize the data. And finally, going to the next sheet is time series. As you can see here, it is literacy rate in India and Japan with standard deviation. So how to have this one? So all I have to do is I have to click year and literacy rate in India, and while clicking and holding my control, I click here literacy rate of the Japan, and then I click here insert. So insert recommended charts. As you can see, it's already recommended with the the line chart is what is being recommended. I will go with this option, or I go with the all charts option and line. So I will go with the line with mark, the line with marks. So I go with this option here. So when I click OK, so you can see that the line comes up here with the year. So year is coming once again. So this is not what I wanted. So I delete it. I click insert recommended charts. So let us go with the same chart. This is nothing but the line chart, simple line chart. I click here, or I can also go with this line chart with the dots. These dots are nothing but individual elements. So I click here OK. So as you can see, this is Japanese the literacy rate, while this is Indian literacy rate. So if I also want to add some the error bar, so I have to go to the add elements. So I have to click each of these to add. So India, I click Indian series, I click add elements, and then I click here error bars and more error bar options, and here the third option, I click here custom, specify value, positive error bar will be all these values, and I can also click here specify values, negative error bar will be all these values once again, and click OK. So you can see that positive and negative error bars are coming up for this series. This is, as you see, standard deviation is increasing, as that is what our our thing is, our data says. And for the Japanese thing, if you would like to add, so just click here the same way. I click here to the not design. Yes, it is actually inside the design of the chart tools submenu. Chart elements, error bars, more error bar options, and the third option, custom, specify value. So positive error bar is the standard deviation, and the negative values will be the same standard deviation. Then I click OK. So now you can see that the Japanese result is also, the literacy rate also has got the error bar. So this is the easy way to generate the time series XY scatter plot in the Excel. Thanks for watching.